Literacy time on Thursday. So this week we have been we've been thinking about Can't You Sleep, Little Bear? And we're going to carry on with this story and really get to grips with it and try and learn it as best as we can. So hopefully lots of you have been practicing retelling the story using those fantastic story maps that you created on Monday. If you haven't had much chance to practice retelling it, do not worry, because there is still lots of time for you to do that. But just a little bit of a tip for you so that you can prepare yourself for next week's lessons. Try and learn this story as best as you can, with as much detail as you can. And more importantly, just think about the order of the story. Okay, that's why we've been practicing it this week. So do your best with that. And let's think about today's lesson. All right, so I'm going to do most of this lesson sharing my screen, because there are lots of things that I want you to look at, lots of things I want you to see, and it's much, much clearer for you to do it, for you to see it like that. So let's hope that I can share my screen, and let's hope that it will let me do the slideshow. So what are we going to do today? We are going to have a go at writing a blurb using punctuation correctly. Okay, now there are probably two words in that learning objective that you might be thinking, what does that mean? Now, the first one, punctuation, I'm going to start with that one. You know what punctuation is because we talk about it all of the time in our lessons. And punctuation is remembering to use a full stop. Okay, we talk about that all the time. It is also remembering, if you're asking a question, to use a question mark. Or if you're talking about something really exciting, or if you're shouting something, it's remembering to use an exclamation mark when you're writing it down. Okay, so it's just how we show in our writing different things. Okay, so full stops, most important. All of us should be writing full stops. And in this lesson, some of us might also be using a question mark and an exclamation mark too. Now, the second word that you might be wondering what it means is the word blurb. Now, I know that we've mentioned the word blurb lots of times, and I know that on Monday, when I read you the story of Can't You Sleep, Little Bear, I also read you the blurb too. So have a think. Do you know what it is? If you don't, do not worry, because that's why we are doing this lesson. But by the end, you will know what a blurb is. And during the lesson, I want you to really think carefully about the story and the order and what happens. And then at the end, when you've finished your task, is you are going to check that you have used the correct punctuation. So first question, what is a blurb? Now you will be able to see on the screen a book, and you can see the front cover and you can see the back cover. Now every book has a front cover and a back cover, and on the front cover it tells you the title. There'll be a picture to try and draw you in, to make you pick up that book and think, oh, I want to read this. And the blurb is what goes on the back of the book, and it's a short piece of writing that tells you a little bit about the story. So it's a summary of the story. It doesn't tell you the whole of it. It doesn't give anything away. It doesn't tell you exactly what happens, because the blurb is there because the author wants you to read the whole of the book. If you're in a bookshop, they want you to buy the book. If you're in a library, there's thousands of books for you to choose from, and the author wants you to choose their book. So the front cover has to be good and the blurb has to be good as well. So this is just a front cover of a book called The Pout Fish. And just by looking at the front cover, have a think, have a talk to whoever's next to you and discuss why or why not you would like or not like to read this book. Okay, put your hands up if you would like to read this book. Yeah, I can see lots of you with hands up. My hand would be up too, because the front cover of this book is quite bright. It's quite interesting, isn't it? And that fish on the front looks a bit sad. And I want to know, why does that fish feel a bit sad? So it makes me want to pick up that book and find out. And that's just by looking at the front cover, okay? So I'm going to show you another book now. Would you like to read this book by looking at the front cover? No? Why not? Because there's no front cover. It looks boring, doesn't it? It's a mystery book. Okay, so there's no front cover, so we've got no idea what this story is about at all, but there is a blurb on the back. And I'm going to read you the blurb, and I want you to decide, just from listening to the blurb, would you like to read this book? So Jenny is a beautiful fairy with a naughty magic wand that casts its own mischievous spells. What troubles will Jenny get into? What will that naughty wand do next? Right, would you like to read that story? Yeah, I think I definitely would. It makes me want to find out, what are those mischievous spells that magic wand keeps getting up to? I want to find out what troubles Jenny gets into. And I also want to find out, what will that naughty wand do next? But has the author told me what happens? No, they've not given anything away at all. They've just tried to make it sound really, really interesting, which I think they have done a really good job of. So what do we have to remember when we write a blurb? So what makes a good blurb? Okay, they're short. You don't have to write pages and pages of sentences for a blurb. They are just very, very short. And what they have to do is they have to use exciting words. They need to grab your attention. So if the blurb is really boring and it makes the book sound really boring, would you like to read it? No. So you have to use exciting words. And when somebody writes a blurb, they often ask questions as well. And they often use exclamation marks when something is exciting or surprising. And one other thing that they often do is, at the very end, they will use 3 dots called an ellipsis. And it just looks like 3 full stops, one after the other. And they use that to leave the reader asking a question and thinking, what's going to happen? Why have they said that? Okay, so you'll see what I mean in a moment, because I'm going to show you some blurbs so you can see what I mean. So here are 3 books that we have focused on in the classroom. So Kipper Snowy Day, Owl Babies, and Pirate Pete and the Treasure Island. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read you the blurb from these books. And whilst I'm reading them, I want you to have a think. Are they short? Does the author use any exciting words? Are there any questions? Can you see any exclamation marks? And can you see that ellipsis, those 3 dots at the end? So, Kipper Snowy Day. Kipper wakes up to find that it is snowing. Yes, 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 says Kipper. He rushes out into the snow to build the best snow dog ever. But will it still be there in the morning? ... Okay, is it short? Yes. Does the author make it sound interesting and exciting? Yeah, I think that they do. Can you see any exclamation marks? Yes, I can see some. If you can see my mouse on the computer screen, there is one there, there is one there, and there's one there. And the reason why the author has used one there is because Kipper is excited and he's saying yes when he can see the snow, just like some of you did, I bet, when we had that snow a few weeks ago. Has the author asked any questions? He has, and it's the one at the end. But will it still be there in the morning? And there's that ellipsis, there's those 3 dots and a question mark. So I want to read this book. Do you want to read it? Good. And I want to read it because I want to find out, is that snow dog still going to be there in the morning? But does the author tell us what happens? No. Okay, so it makes us want to read the book, doesn't it? So well done to Mick Inkpen, who is the author of Kipper Snowy Day. So next one, Owl Babies. All right, so Mother Owl has gone out hunting and the owl babies are left all alone in the dark. It is dark and scary and things move all around them. But will Mother Owl come back? Then suddenly, ... and an exclamation mark. So we can see that exclamation mark there because it's interesting. What is going to happen? Why does it say suddenly? And why is suddenly in capital letters? Okay, does it make you want to read the book and find out more? Yeah, it does. It's short, isn't it? It's not the whole story. The author has just chosen a little bit of it to make it sound really interesting. But I want to read this story because I have just read the question again. But will Mother Owl come back? I want to find out, will the mother owl go back to her babies, or will something happen? So it's interesting, isn't it? It doesn't give any of the story away. So that's why I want to read that story. Okay, Pirate Pete and the Treasure Island. So Pirate Pete is on another exciting adventure with his trusty friend Beaky. The waves are going up and down and up and down. What could they do to get a good night's sleep? When they find a big green hill, they decide to spend the night there. But thundering cannonball! This is just the start of their troubles. ... Okay, so this one is slightly longer, but it's still short, isn't it? And has the author of the story told us exactly what happens? No, they haven't, have they? They're just teasing us. They want us to find out what's going to happen, what are their troubles going to be, and why can't they sleep, and what will they do to be able to get a good night's sleep? So there's that question. What could they do to get a good night's sleep? We don't know. And the only way that we will know is by reading the book. And there is Pirate Pete's favourite words to use, thundering cannonballs. And just after the word thundering cannonball, you can see an exclamation mark. It's an exciting phrase, isn't it? He uses it when something shocking is happening, or when something exciting is happening. And there's that ... This is just the start of their troubles. But what are those troubles? We don't know, do we? Because the only way that we will find out is by reading the book. Okay, so they are examples of blurbs. So, like I said, we're going to be thinking about Can't You Sleep, Little Bear now. And you can see the front cover on the screen now. So what would you say about this book? If you were going to have a go at writing a blurb, what would you say about it? Okay, well, you'd need to say who the main characters are. Okay, so in the blurbs that we've just read, in Kipper's Snowy Day, they tell us about Kipper. They say his name. And then in Owl Babies, they say there's the Owl Babies and the Owl Mother. And then in Pirate Pete, they talk about Pirate Pete and Beaky, the parrot, as well. So who are the main characters in this story? Yeah, of course, it's Big Bear and Little Bear. Why is Little Bear scared? Because afraid of the dark. Yeah, you're right. And what will Big Bear do to help? Okay, so we know that Big Bear will give Little Bear a lantern to help him go to sleep. But are we going to tell them what happens next? No, we want them to read the story. Okay, so if you are going to have a go at writing this blurb in a moment, but think about, where could you use a question mark maybe? What question could you ask the reader? Could you use an exclamation mark maybe? Maybe if you're telling, but Little Bear is scared of the dark. Perhaps that could have an exclamation mark next to it. And how could you finish off the blurb by using that ellipsis, those 3 dots at the end? How could you finish it? And of course, if you're not using any of those, what goes at the end of a sentence? Absolutely right. Well done. You need to use a full stop. But we don't need to use a full stop and a question mark. And we don't need to use a full stop and an exclamation mark. Okay, so if you're not using a question mark or an exclamation mark, there needs to be a full stop at the end of your sentence. So remember that one. So there are 3 different tasks that you can choose from. They're all very, very similar, but you can choose. So we've got 1, 2, or 3. Now this is 1, and these are on the website for you to look at, so you can copy down what's already there. And you need to fill in the missing words using your phonics and punctuation, and then your blurb will be complete. So it says, little bear is. So what is he? Is he excited? Is he bored? Is he tired? Is he sleepy? That's for you to decide. Big Bear gives him a... Okay, so there's a bit of a clue there. So maybe in the first part, little bear is he excited to go to a party? Okay, is he going to school? Is he scared? What could he be scared of? Big Bear gives him a... What does Big Bear give to him? But Little Bear can't. Big Bear takes him outside to look at the... Find out what happens to Little Bear. ... Okay, so you need to use your phonics to fill in the missing words, and then that blurb will be complete. So that's number one. Number two, if you choose to do this one, it's very similar, but this one you need to add a little bit more detail in. So you still need to use your phonics, and you still need to be thinking about the story. So Little Bear is, same as before. So tell me what Little Bear is. Big Bear helps by... What might you say there? But Little Bear is... What should Big Bear do next? ... question mark. So if you're going to choose that blurb to write, are we telling the reader exactly what happens? No, we're asking that question at the end, aren't we? What should Big Bear do next? We're not telling them. They need to read the book to find out. Okay, so that's number two. And then if you choose to do number three, we would like you to have a go at writing your own blurb from the beginning. So you can use the clues that are on number one and number two to help you. But I wonder how many of you will give this a go. So there's a checklist at the top of this one. So it says to use punctuation correctly. So it's telling you capital letters, full stops, exclamation marks, question marks, and that ellipsis for the end. Make it short and make it exciting. Okay, so I wonder how many of you will give that a go. And just like, I don't know if you can see, just like in Pip's message up there, keep trying your best. Okay, just give it a go and see how you get on. But we're really excited to have a read of some of these blurbs. So this is the task that we would like you to email us in today, please. All right, so most important, make it short, make it exciting, and use the correct punctuation. So a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. So give it your best go, and we're looking forward to reading them later on. So enjoy.